Hi, this is an overview of BigBlueButton targeting to the help desk, and we're going to give you an overview of the roles, features, and some information to help you support BigBlueButton. So in this presentation, we'll just cover the kind of core features and how they break down by the viewer, the moderator, and the presenter, some best practices for using BigBlueButton, some troubleshooting tips, and some suggestions for the help desk. BigBlueButton is a virtual classroom system for online learning. You can use it for flipped classrooms where you record content ahead of time, virtual office hours, instructors to students. You can do student collaboration, maybe you give BigBlueButton for the students, maybe use breakout rooms, and full online classes where we recommend 100 users or less. But it's not hard-coded, but try to keep it in those recommendations. BigBlueButton is a pure HTML5 application. There's no app to install. You can run it on the phone, you can run it on your desktop, laptop, Chromebook. Same application, different devices. You've probably already used BigBlueButton before, but just a quick tour of the interface. The user list here, you can toggle it open and close by clicking the user icon. You can see the meeting title. There's the start, stop, record button. Very important for the presenter to click it if they want a session recorded. The webcams appear here at the top. Settings menu is where you can log out and change some of the settings. If you're the presenter, you'll see these controls for the whiteboard, which is kind of what I'm doing now. Everybody will see the media controls at the bottom, share audio, webcam, and if you're the presenter, share the screen. The slide area here, and again, if you're a presenter, you'll have the capabilities to upload slides, and any moderator can also just use this button to take presentation control. So in BigBlueButton, there's two types of users. There's a viewer and a moderator, which map roughly towards the student and the instructor. We chose these terms because viewer kind of suggests you're viewing and with some participation, sharing your audio, maybe your video, chatting, and so on. Whereas moderator has all the capabilities of viewer, but they can affect the entire meeting. How can you tell them apart? In the users list, all viewers come in with a circle avatar, and all moderators come in with a square. And the moderators are always listed at the top. This presentation icon here, maybe not surprisingly, shows who's the current presenter. And in the bottom right, these are the icons that show you your status in the audio bridge. Here you're joined, microphone is open. Here you're joined, listen only. In terms of just like a list of the capabilities here, there's some slides I'll go through briefly, but the viewer has the ability to share their audio, webcam, chat, respond to polls, write on shared notes, and respond to invite from breakout rooms. The moderator has all of those, but start, stop recording as well. Very important if you want a recording. Manage anyone's audio, mute everybody, do a global mute, start breakout rooms, lock down particular features for a person, maybe for viewers. Maybe you don't want viewers doing private chat, like in K-12. Make anyone presenter, including themselves, change anyone's role, and when they leave, they can also end the meeting. So it would kick everybody else out and start the recording to be processed. Somebody in the session is the presenter, and usually it's the first moderator that joins. And you can see the presentation icon again here. So the presenter has the ability to kind of manipulate the center area for everybody. Upload slides, advance the presentation, annotate with what I'm doing here with the whiteboard, turn on multi-user whiteboards so many people could write at the same time, share YouTube in the area, the presentation area, start a poll, and share the screen or desktop in the presentation area. So, as a viewer, when you join, you have the option of joining with your microphone or listen only. And actually, I should say when anybody joins. These are the features that are capable to anybody. How can you tell with people in the audio? Well, in the users list, if there's an empty area here, we call it the byte. It means they're in the session or they're joining the session in process to join, but they haven't joined the audio yet, so they can't hear anything. When you see the icon appear, this shows a microphone icon. Here, the person's muted. And here they're unmuted. And here they're joined listen only. That's the only 4 states for the media, or for the audio. Anybody can click on their name. Your name always appears at the top, and you can choose your status, and then your avatar will change to whatever the status symbol you choose. You can start a private chat by clicking on someone else's name, clicking private chat, or start private chat. If an instructor does a poll, or the presenter does a poll, you'll see the options in the lower right-hand corner. If you haven't been locked out of the shared notes, any viewer can write in the shared notes. Think of it like a little lightweight version of Google Docs built in. And if you're in another tab, you'll actually see a red dot next to shared notes if some people have written there. In shared notes, you can export it. Just click this icon and you can export in various formats. And you can minimize as well. So if you wanted to just do full webcam, you can actually minimize the presentation area. And when you do, in the lower right hand corner, kind of shows up here, this icon will let you maximize it again. If you're invited to a breakout room, you'll see the invitation. Okay, that's kind of the basic user capabilities. So the moderator, though, they can do more. They can start, stop recording. So just clicking the start, stop recording at the top of the screen, you'll be prompted, are you sure? Say yes, and then it turns into a timer showing you how long the meeting is recorded. And the start, stop, if you did that sequence, you would actually create 2 separate segments, but they get joined together at the end. So that means you can have like an hour class, pause the recording, have a break, start it again, stop it at the end, talk for a few minutes, leave, and then the only what appears in the recording are just the segments between the start and stop, all joined together in one session, in one segment. A single recording. And what it looks like is this. The recorded video area shows all the content that was shared, the whiteboard, the screen, obviously the slides, and then the chat appears here on the right. And you can right-click inside the presentation area or the playback area to download it if you want, as an MP4. And so now let's get into some of the moderator capabilities. So the moderator has this gear icon, which has a bunch of moderator capabilities. So you can clear everyone's status. A couple of people raise their hand. You can mute everybody. You can save the user's name if you want to take like a roster. You can lock the viewers. You can create breakout rooms and do closed captions if there's like a stenographer joining and they want to write. In terms of the lock settings allow you to actually prevent viewers from doing certain actions. So maybe you don't need to the students don't need to see each other's webcams, or they don't need to do private chat, or they don't need to do shared notes. Typically some of these can be set as default, especially for K-12. They want the instructors to come in and students are basically join listen only and can do public chat. These settings are possible in BigBlueButton. As a moderator, you can click on any student who has been locked. So if the lock settings are in place, everybody gets locked, but you can actually unlock a particular student. So if you want to let a particular student share their microphone and you've locked everybody from microphone, you can click on their name and unlock them. Maybe you want to let them do a presentation or that. Breakout rooms, definitely want to try this ahead of time if you're going to do it. Create a breakout room, you get a dialog box that allows you to choose the number of rooms, the duration. Usually I think it's set to 15 by default. You can choose whether users are able to choose a breakout room, or you can just drag and drop their names over. And once you're done, you click create, and then everybody sees a dialog box that comes up. And this one here actually gives the students the ability to join. And if you didn't click this, there would just be you've been invited to join breakout room 1 or breakout room 2, whatever the instructor dragged you into. And in the breakout room, the time left will appear at the top. What's important to note is that anybody who goes into breakout rooms, it's just opened up a new tab. You're still in the main room. Now your audio is dropped from the main room. You're now sharing audio in the breakout room. Maybe you share webcams as well, but you're still in the main room. When you leave breakout rooms, all that's really happening is this tab closes, and then you're going to go back in the main room and rejoin the audio and pick up where you left off. For the instructor, or for the moderator, whoever started breakout rooms, they actually will see the list of users here who joined the breakout rooms, and they'll be able to join the room as well. And actually, back up for a second. This is actually what the students would see. So if the viewer joined late and wanted to join a breakout room, they'd be able to see the breakout rooms and join it. Or if you left the breakout room too early, you could always click the breakout rooms here as a viewer, a student, and go back and join the room you were assigned. The instructor has the ability to invite late joiners to breakout rooms. So if there was a student who joined late, you could just choose breakout room invitation. That's what the label changes to. And maybe Lynn late, you could just join her into room 1. So now as a moderator, you actually will see the list of users underneath here for each room, and you have 2 options. You can join the room full on, which basically is as if you were invited to it. It opens up in a new tab, you join the audio, or you can stay in the main room and just listen into the breakout room. So your audio channel will change into the audio for that breakout room. You'll appear in the users list, and you can hear what everybody says, but this will be the case where maybe someone in room 1 came back to the main room, typed in the public chat, hey, could you join us for a few moments? And you can do that by just fully join if you want, or just join by clicking the audio. You can actually join more than one breakout room at once. You could join breakout room 2, breakout room or 1, 2, 3 if you want, and you could be just tabbing back and forth the breakout rooms to see how folks are doing. The closed captions is really only of interest if you have a stenographer who comes in. So make them moderator, they can write, they choose a language, and they get this closed caption. It's very like the shared notes. They can just start typing here with the stenograph machine, and then the students will all be able to choose CC, closed caption, and once they do, everything that the stenographer types in, if you've got closed captions enabled, you'll see it appear as captions in the live session, and those will appear as subtitles in the recording. All right, we promised earlier that the instructor or the moderator can make anybody presenter, so you can click on a student's name and choose Make Presenter if you want. And then when you're done, you can basically, moderators always have the plus sign, and if you're not the current presenter, you just have the option to take back presentation control. So you can give it to somebody and very easily take it back. You could promote someone to moderator. Sometimes if the stenographer comes in, or if you want an instructor, if you have a guest lecturer coming in, maybe you promote them to moderator if they're more familiar with BigBlueButton. But more often than not, you just make them presenter. That's where you sort of hand around the presentation controls, and they can only affect the presentation area, whereas a moderator can like kick people out and do other things. Public chat, when you view it, there's a couple options. You can click this to go back, the left side, and then you have a drop down, the public chat. So viewers have save and copy, but the instructor or the moderators also have the ability to clear it. And when folks raise their hand, in this case you'll see the status icon, a moderator can clear all the status icons. Again, this is the gear icon. This is only visible to moderators. First item here is just clear all the emojis or the statuses. And so the hand would go back to a normal icon. And you can click on an individual person if you want and clear their status. The moderator can leave, but instead of just log out, they can actually end the meeting. This is really good if the class is done and you don't want students to linger. Once the moderator, the instructor, is finished, they should choose end meeting. The meeting would end, everybody would get kicked out, and the recordings would start processing. If the start, stop, record button hadn't been pressed. Very important. So someone in the session is a presenter. Usually it's the first moderator that joins, but any moderator can make anyone presenter, including themselves. So you have, in the plus sign, when you're a presenter, there's a bunch of options. One is upload presentation, where you can click here to browse a file, choose it, and then upload it. If you choose this, by default it's a slash through it, which is the download icon. If you uncheck that, folks will be able to download the presentation. Most often not, you're just uploading presentations at the beginning, choosing them, clicking upload, they process, and they now become the main presentation area, which is kind of what I'm doing here. If you do enable a download, there's a download icon that will appear in the lower left-hand corner. You can share an external video. So you can upload a YouTube link, Vimeo, or if you're using Studio from Instructor, you can share a public link or get an external link for it and place it in here. And then when you click Start Sharing, that video will play for everybody. And then in the video you can pause it, resume it, and when you're done you come back here and you stop sharing it, and then it goes back, the presentation area goes back to the slides. Polling, pretty straightforward. I'm kind of going through all the features here, but just from a support point of view, you kind of know what instructors are able to do, and the viewers, the moderators, and the presenters. Be good to do it yourself as well, but this is kind of the high-level view. When you start a poll, you have choices to do, like a bunch of preset choices, and then you can choose custom poll where you type in things like green, red, blue. And it was shown a bit earlier, but once you choose something like A, B, C, D, it'll appear in the lower right-hand corner for students. Sometimes if your slides have some keywords like true, false in it, this will actually show up and give you the option to just do true, false with one click. We call it smart polls, but if the slides have like ABC, it's a good chance that this button will appear and you'll just have a choice to choose ABC. This is what the polling options, in this case ABC, would look like for students. And the instructor would see the results live, and you would see the live choices made by each student. So you can choose whether to publish it, or you can just close it. But you can see live as the results come in. Screen sharing, pretty straightforward. The interface is slightly different in Chrome and Firefox. When you choose Chrome, this dialog box will appear here. You can choose your tie-in screen, application window. You actually have to click on the preview here, even if it's only a single window. This may come up in help desk where they tried to share the screen, they couldn't. All they had to do was actually click here on the icon or on the thumbnail, and then the share would appear. Firefox is a bit different. It's a drop-down menu that kind of lists all the windows, and at the bottom is like screen 1 and screen 2. And again, in both cases, you have to give allow, so it will share. One thing is if they have one monitor, and when you share your screen, the presentation area shows to the screen. So the instructor sees the same thing as the viewers. However, if you have a single screen and you're sharing the screen, and you see the screen sharing, you'll get this mirror-on-mirror effect. There's nothing wrong. It just sort of has this, as the screen updates, so does the share update, and you get this kind of like mirror effect. Again, don't worry. Screen sharing actually always works best on two monitors, because then you have one monitor for BigBlueButton and one monitor for your screen share. But there's no negative effect here. It's just kind of an optical thing that happens. Multi-user whiteboard, very good for tutoring, small group collaboration. So the instructor has the ability to click, or the presenter is here, click here, and all the students, including themselves, will be able to write in their own layer. To turn it off, just click again. Okay, so that's actually a pretty overview of the BigBlueButton interface. In terms of now more on the help desk side of things, the browsers we recommend are Chrome, Firefox latest versions, and the latest version of Edge, which just came out in January 2020. That is actually built on the Chromium engine. So all these three browsers, excellent. Mobile, you would use Android Mobile, and on Safari, like iPhones or iPads, you use Safari Mobile. If somebody tries to use Chrome or Firefox on iOS, it doesn't work. Apple only gives you the WebRTC libraries when you use Safari Mobile. But that's the default for most people anyway, so it doesn't come up very often. In terms of bandwidth requirements, again, more on the support side, BigBlueButton, if you don't have a lot of webcams or video going on, it's actually pretty lightweight. For the viewers, the students, we recommend 0.5 megabits up and 1 megabits down. And if the instructor intends to share their screen, we recommend 1 megabits up at least and 1 megabits down. However, screen sharing is not available on iOS or Android devices, only desktop and laptops. It's just the way the browsers work on the mobile devices. Just some recommendations. Obviously, desktop wired is good. If someone's having troubles, you can always do a speed test with them. For wireless, we recommend like a private network instead of public, like a Starbucks. Though I have to say, Starbucks is actually pretty good. And ideally, look for full bars. So a lot of times, connectivity issues can almost always be traced back to bandwidth. And for mobile devices, if you're on a 4G network, you're usually pretty good. 3G, not so good. And if you go to a wireless network, again, kind of like private network is good, and look for full bars. Okay, so for those folks that are on a really low bandwidth, there is an option in the settings called data savings, where when you choose settings from the sort of the three dots, you can then disable webcams or desktop sharing on the client. So someone on low bandwidth who just can't handle the stream for the webcams and the screen sharing could actually turn it off, and they'd still hear everything. And it's all still recorded, but it just sort of reduces their bandwidth requirements to be part of the session. A couple tips for the presenter: keep the slides under 30 megabytes or 200 pages. Very rarely you see this go over. You'll get a message that if it does go over when they upload, to split it into pieces. And almost always, if you can, with PowerPoint, upload it as a PDF. The fonts come through, and it's pretty straightforward. You save as PDF. It's actually a smaller size, and then it uploads. It does flatten out any video or audio stored in the PowerPoint, so the media doesn't come through. It doesn't come through as well if you upload it as PowerPoint, because it's going to get it converted to PDF on the server anyway. So best to convert it ahead of time, get a small file, then upload it. In terms of microphone, a lot of times people just plug in a microphone and it works. So it's good to plug it in before starting BigBlueButton. Anybody can just click the refresh button if they want. Refresh BigBlueButton, come right back in immediately, and then it will get a fresh list of all the microphones that are available. We have happened every now and then the microphone is physically not working. So in Windows or Mac, you can usually check the the settings for the microphone and see the green bars and make sure it's working. Sometimes the microphones have a hard mute switch on the cord, so have to make sure it's unmuted. And the only last thing would be is restart the browser. If the browser has been left open for days, and we're all guilty of it, the audio might not be working as well, or just switch between Firefox and Chrome. That gets you a fresh start anyway. In terms of managing the audio, so if someone's causing noise, you can click Mute User, and in the newest version of BigBlueButton, we actually have the names of the users appearing at the top when they talk. So you'll see this for sure if you go in. So if Fred is talking, you'll see the name appear at the top. Any moderator can click on that name, and then it will mute it right away. So we show you visually who's talking, and any moderator can click on those visual indications and mute that user right away. So if you have a class of 50 people, if someone's causing background noise, their name will appear here at the top. So it's very easy for the moderator to just click on it and mute them. Okay, some tips for good experiences with BigBlueButton. Let's go right on to the help desk. So blindside networks, one of the most common things we get is the instructor forgot to press the start, stop, record button. I talked about it earlier, they still forget. So if you do have the example, just send us an email. Usually within 14 days we can recover it. Give us the approximate time of the session, the name of the instructor, and the session title. We'll find it, and again, almost always we can recover it for you. In terms of like the resources available for users, there's a help menu there, which takes to some videos on how to use the BigBlueButton client. And then we have, Blindside Networks has our support knowledge base. So there's lots of good articles there. Definitely share that with faculty and staff. And just for the first time, if folks are using BigBlueButton, just recommend to faculty that they go in maybe 30 minutes ahead of time and just try everything out, or start the first session 30 minutes ahead of time so students can come in. But a lot of times people will just join as listen only. Once the instructor has got the microphone working, pretty much things are good to go. And it's always good to set expectations. If you got a class of 50 people, some people are going to get dropped because of their network. Don't worry. Just tell people to refresh their browser. There's an excellent chance that it was momentary. They can come back in. As I said earlier, switch between Firefox and Chrome. Both are slightly different, but it's actually another way of just saying, hey, start a fresh browser. If the network is just not good, try a different network location, and maybe try switching between a wireless network and like I said earlier, a public or private wireless network if you're on mobile. So for the help desk, what we recommend is just review the knowledge base, the link in the previous slides. Do watch the tutorial videos. They're very short, like 5-6 minutes each. There's one for moderator, there's one for viewer. Do try running BigBlueButton on the major browsers. Just make sure you see the interfaces are pretty much the same except for the sharing of the desktop. Try joining the audio, and again, yeah, just try sharing the desktop. Once you've got that, you've got a pretty good handle of what students and instructors are going to see. That's an overview of BigBlueButton, its features, some best practices, and some recommendations for the help desk.